The LC10 or the MP7, which one is the best long-range SMG for Warzone? This video is going to break down the stats for both of the guns, comparing them to let you know which one is the best. If you enjoy weapon comparisons, weapon breakdowns, and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and also click the link in the description down below to follow us over on Twitch. We're trying to reach 100 followers over there as well. The LC10 as well as the MP7 are not your common SMGs. They don't perform super well at close range, but they do perform well in those medium range distances, especially if you're going to pair it with a sniper rifle, as a sniper with a sniper support is the current meta inside Warzone at the moment. Before we get into the stats for both of the guns, I do want to quickly show you the class setups we use to compare both of them. So for the MP7, we use the usual class setup that most people do use, and we use the following class setup on the LC10 to give you good mobility and also help with recoil control with the SVOD speed grip, and then the reinforced heavy barrel gives you the longest possible damage range and a decent boost to bullet velocity. Of course, your class setups might be slightly different, and there's some slight adjustments that you could make to either one of these two guns to suit your playstyle best, but we mainly focused on having a good comparison for both of the guns and trying to extend the range out as far as we possibly can, because like I said, these are going to be used as sniper support. Now let's take a look at some of the general and handling stats for the LC10 and the MP7. The LC10 is on the left, the MP7 on the right, blue is with attachments, and white is the base weapon. So we can see for the LC10, the rate of fire is 790 rounds per minute, whereas the rate of fire on the MP7 is definitely much quicker at 950 rounds per minute. The base aim down sight time for the LC10 is 192 milliseconds. Stacking all of the attachments, including the suppressor, brings this aim down sight time up to 220 milliseconds. But this is still faster than the MP7 with its stacked attachments, as the base aim down sight time on the MP7 is 196 milliseconds, and in stacking all the attachments adds a full 100 milliseconds on your aim down sight time. The base magazine size on the LC10 is 34 rounds, then you can increase that to 55 rounds, but this then also increases your reload time from 2.2 seconds to 2.9 seconds. The MP7 starts off with a rather large magazine of 40 rounds, then you can increase that all up to 60 rounds, and the reload time is quicker than the LC10 at 1.97 seconds. The base bullet velocity on the LC10 is 400 meters per second. Stacking on that reinforced heavy barrel along with the suppressor boosts it up to 725 meters per second. Keep this in mind, this is not the best barrel for bullet velocity. If you want the fastest possible bullet velocity that will make it close to 900 meters per second, you want to use the Ranger barrel and the agency suppressor. The reason we went for the reinforced heavy barrel is because it also boosts out your damage range. The bullet velocity on the MP7 starts at 537 meters per second, and once you stack on the longest barrel and the mono suppressor, you can get the bullet velocity at 846 meters per second, which is definitely much more viable than the LC10, especially at those longer range engagements. This is very similar to an assault rifle kind of bullet velocity. And lastly, overall movement speed will be a little bit quicker with the MP7. I do want to reiterate before we move on, if you do want the faster bullet velocity on the LC10, you need to use the Ranger barrel, not the reinforced heavy barrel. But some things we could take away from this is that the aim down sight time on the LC10 is definitely better when you stack attachments, the reload time is quicker on the MP7, and your overall movement will be a little bit quicker with the MP7 as well. The next section of this video is taken from TrueGameData.com, and a link to all of their stuff will be down in the description down below. But what we can see on screen just now is the time to kill charts for the MP7, the Modern Warfare MP5, which I've added just for reference, and the LC10. And what we want to look at is up close. The MP5 obviously performs the best, but if we're looking at the time to kill for the Modern Warfare MP7, it does kill just pretty close actually. It's about a 40 millisecond difference here, and it still kills pretty quick up close, which is definitely what you need in an SMG. But then looking at the LC10, it kills in around about 600 milliseconds. Now this is not the quickest up close time to kill whatsoever. So if you're using the LC10 at close range, you're going to get outgunned by most other SMGs in the game, especially like the Modern Warfare MP5, the Cold War MP5, the AS-Val, the FAR. A lot of those guns kill so much quicker than the LC10, and so does the MP7. But what I want to do is now remove the MP5, so I just want to quickly show that. and focus on the LC10 as well as the MP7. So below 10 meters, you definitely want to have the MP7 because it has the faster time to kill. But then if you're looking at this kind of weird range right here, so this is like between 10 meters and what's this, 26 meters right here. So this is like a weird distance where the LC10 does perform better in terms of time to kill than the MP7. But like I said, when you're using an SMG, most of your gunfights are going to be within this range right here, or even within 0 to 20 meters, to be completely honest. A lot of gunfights can be won at 20 meters with an SMG too. But one thing I would say is that after that 26 meters, the MP7 starts to have the faster time to kill once again at those longer range distances, and it actually outperforms some assault rifles as well with its time to kill. So if you're using the SMG and you're kind of skipping out this kind of middle section, then you can actually perform really well with the MP7 if you're using it at kind of longer range distances past 30 meters and below 10 meters. So it's kind of personal preference here. If a lot of your gunfights are within 10 to 20 meters, then the LC10 is the best option. If most of your gunfights are below 10 meters, then the MP7 is your best option. And of course, we all know you can take a gunfight at longer ranges with the MP7 and still do really well. So clearly this is just how they've balanced two of the guns. One thing I do want to mention is that those damage drop-off values are for the base weapons only, not when the attachments are stacked on the guns. So if you do stack the attachments on both of these guns, as we've shown you earlier on, you will extend those damage drop-off values. As we've just shown you, neither one of these guns have the best theoretical time to kill for an SMG, but what they do have is the best practical time to kill for an SMG. So what you'll see here is the recoil chart for the LC10, which is on the left, and the MP7, which is on the right, and both are with attachments added. Now, if you do want to reduce that horizontal spread on the MP7, you could use the Commando foregrip instead of the Merc foregrip, but as you can see, both of these guns are extremely accurate, and recoil is going to be a piece of cake to manage on both of these guns. So like I said, it's going to be hard to choose a winner here because recoil is so easy to manage. Just to quickly run over hipfire accuracy as well, as you can see, we have the LC10 on the left again, the MP7 on the right, and the MP7 is definitely performing much better in terms of hipfire accuracy. Now, that's not to say the LC10 is bad in terms of hipfire, because it's got no hipfire attachments on that gun, whereas the MP7 has the 5mm laser. So if you did stack a 5mm laser on the LC10, you'll get better results. But hipfiring on the LC10 is pretty good, and hipfiring on the MP7, even with the base weapon, is super accurate. So if you're looking for a hipfire build, the MP7 is definitely the best option here. Now, it's going to be hard to pick a winner between these two guns because they're very similar in some ways, but also very different as well. If you want an SMG that can perform extremely well at close range, and then you can also use it at long range, the MP7 is definitely your best bet because it also has the best hipfire accuracy. On top of that, it has the faster time to kill at closer ranges. But if you tend to get in more gunfights between 10 and 20 meters, and you don't really care too much about hip firing all that often, then the LC10 can be a great option. But in my opinion, if I had to pick one of these two guns, I would always pick the MP7, because I prefer having the option to hip fire and also like a faster time to kill at close range. The only problem is the current state of Warzone means that you can't really use either one of these two guns that well, because the FFAR1 is so good in Warzone right now. But let me know what you think about these two guns down in the comments below. Let me know which one you're using. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. Also, click the link in the description and follow us over on Twitch. And thank you very much for watching.